just fooling around, taking video because it'll be easier to track my songs later if I ever make them songs. Edits. Yay! I'm really excited to start 2 songs that I am more excited about than this. I'm doing this song because I'm trying to sit on an egg and hatch it, and then sit on another egg and hatch it. So I started sitting on this egg, and now I'm trying to hatch it. And hatch it means get it up, get it finished, get it up on some kind of platform to sell as sheet music, and maybe one step further and do one thing to promote it. I'm gonna call that hatching the egg. I'm just gonna call that hatching the egg. What? Do you think I was gonna fall on you? Episode of Sitting on Your Egg has to do with genius. So I feel like I have a musical talent, and part of me wondered if I have musical genius. And on the offset, that sounds ridiculous, because for anyone to think or claim that they have any element of genius typically is ridiculous, and probably 98% of the time would be incorrect. Speaking of which, I also wonder if I have some kind of a special skill, let's not say genius, for writing, which the interesting thing is here, I have not pursued a career in writing since I was in high school, when that was my main plan in life, and I have not pursued a goal of being in the music industry, nor do I plan to pursue that goal, because the music industry, like performing and all that, is not the way I see living my life. However, I want to create music and sell it, or at the very least have it be available for the world, and I want to publish books. But I went into a very practical field, which was nursing, and I find a lot of value from it, and I think that I have a lot of reason to believe that God wanted me to be a nurse, that He directed my path to be a nurse. However, the reason I'm bringing this up in this video to you guys is some people out there in the world do have genius, and I don't know if I'm in that group or not, but the interesting thing is there's some people who kind of stink at what they do, just to say it very simply, or they're just not exceptional, okay, to be more realistic. They're not exceptional But their ego is so inflated that they think that everything they do is magnanimously, magnificently glorious. Like they could play a chord of C and then, or I shouldn't say it that way, sounds like I don't know what I'm talking about, a C chord, a C major chord, or whatever, and then they would say, because of the way that I'm holding it and the length of time that I'm giving it breath, that this is my expression of how I feel so plain today, you know, and just sit there and like play that C chord and really feel like, oh, I'm so artistic because I am finding value in something that people normally feel is plain and basic, but that's because of the value I bring to it as a genius human being. I see that a lot. I see a lot where I think I hear something or I see something, so I'll hear music or I'll see like a painting or something like that, and the person who created it really just thinks so highly of themselves that that's the product, and I honestly find that pretty yucky. I don't like that. I don't like when people have huge egos, and I don't like when I can recognize that what they're doing is not unique, but they in their head just think that it's kind of yucky to me. And I recognize that sometimes there's a matter of taste. So there might be some musicians who are even famous musicians, and I don't think that they're particularly genius. However, 70 or 60% of the world disagrees with me, and they think that person's genius. So maybe my genius tracker is off, and I know it's all subjective, but there's some things that maybe even I don't have the skills to recognize that someone was genius at something in a way that they did something because I'm not proficient enough at it. So I recognize all those things. But it's the other people that I'm talking about in this video, which is, what about the people who are sitting at home and have this genius and it's just not brought out to the world? And there are plenty of those people. There are people who maybe they are, you know, incredible mathematicians and they can answer the hardest questions in their sleep, but they didn't have the opportunity to be in a position in an employment where they got to use that, and they don't feel like they're worthy of contributing anything to the world, and so they have a job where anybody else without that talent could do that job, and they live and die without ever contributing to the world and expressing that greatness into the world. And other people similarly, like there can be amazing singers and hardly anyone ever hears their voice, and some of them don't even care about their skill. You know, like other people, like my daughter draws really well, but she doesn't really care about drawing, even though she has a good talent for it and could probably have a career in drawing, but she isn't really interested in drawing, and that's kind of a different discussion. I mean, it's their choice, right? But anyway, my channel is meant to try to help people reach goals and bring out the best in themselves and create what there is inside of them, putting it out into this world to make this world better and more beautiful. And this is part of it, because I do think maybe someone out there watching this, maybe you have a genius and you think it's ridiculous to even think those thoughts, much less say those words. Like the person who I can say the most ridiculous things to in my life, my personal life, is my husband. He lives with me day in and day out, and he understands my quirks and my humanity and all of that. But I would not say to him that I think I have any level of genius. Now, of course, when I put this on YouTube, he might watch this, but I'm really trying to do something good for the world here. So what if you do have genius? What if you have something that others don't have? And like for me, when I'm listening to my own music, even though it is in the roughest of forms, because I'm just sitting down and doing an actual first draft, and so I'm like finding the notes I want to find and all that, I hear it and I think that's something special, and I'm impressed with myself. And sometimes when I write something to a certain degree, I'm impressed with myself. So I think it's worthy of asking yourself, maybe you fall into that category. Maybe you should take yourself more seriously. Maybe you are a genius at something, and because that idea is so unusual to a lot of us, maybe it is forever kept under the rug, and that's a terrible crying shame. Like it needs to be brought out of the rug, and you need to polish it off and put it up on, take it seriously and give time to it, give energy to it, give hope to it, give education to it, give money to it if you have to, make plans around it, and eventually make the step of hopefully allowing yourself to allow others to take it seriously. So just put that in your noggin and think about it. And just to clarify, I'm not saying that I am a genius, but I'm wondering if there's some genius in me. So, for example, I hardly remember my chord progressions. I'm really, really rusty at playing scales. I'm not very strong on music theory, although it's in there because I've been in music for so long. And there are a lot of people in the world with genius in them. But what I'm trying to get at with this video is that it would be a shame if you are one of those people who have genius in you and you're not recognizing it because you think that it's pretentious, ridiculous, assumptive, egotistical, whatever it is, to utter the words, to have the thoughts. Also, I think I could define genius in my own little definition as something that you have within you rather than something that can be taught. You can go very, very far by doing things that can be taught. Like, for example, I could learn all the chord progressions and I could get stronger at doing my scales again, and because that's learnable. It's practicable, it's learnable. But what I'm saying is that it would be a shame if you have that kernel of genius in your being, in your makeup, as a gift given from God, and you don't explore it and breathe life into it. That's what I'm saying. Alright guys, so here is hatched egg number 1. Let me know in the comments what egg you're sitting on and working on hatching. I'd be really excited to read those. All right, bye guys.